Hello, everybody. So I am late. I got my time zones mixed up in some spectacular way. I think I'll just blame it on the full moon. It's all the full moon's fault. So it's actually 9:30 down in New South Wales. So we're just going to see if anybody actually turns up because I am an hour late. Just giving everything a nice smudge. Oh, we've had some people turn on. Fantastic. How is everybody doing this divine Friday night? Hello, Sarah. How are you? Where are you from? So yesterday I did I've got plenty of people starting to pop on. So sorry for being late. I got my time zones mixed up. I was just extra special. And I was just saying that yesterday I did some live training in my group. Just got something in my eye. Hang on. And it was on the adult-child archetype. So I put a little description about what I talked about up above, and it's actually been really popular because I wrote about it because I'd had a couple of my clients that I do with coaching and also some friends who were really having an issue with the adult archetype, whether they had it themselves or they were in friendships or relationships with somebody who has the adult child. And the adult child is, and that's on an archetypal level, is someone who from a very, very young age is very responsible, like can take on and see really adult concepts from a really young age. And they make big decisions and they understand consequences and they're very mature. But this can lead to a lot of disconnect as they get into adulthood because they expect everyone else to be like them, to have been responsible, and they actually can have a lot of impatience with other archetypes, especially like the petulant child. So it was really popular. So I put a description wrote about it in the description above and the link to my group. And I talk about the light and the shadow aspects. You know, they've also got to be really careful when they can sometimes prostitute themselves for the greater good and different things like that. So it goes for about, it ended up being like nearly half an hour, but I've had so many people reach out and make comments and actually message me about it. So I think it might be a little bit of a core theme at the moment where people really needing to understand that specific archetype. So if it sounds like you or someone that you need, then by all means go and have a watch of the video because the feedback's been really profound and I'm really excited about that. Let me just turn off my phone, my sweet. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's get in and do some readings. Once again, thank you for all still being here because I am in the wrong time zone at the moment. So who would like some readings? And if you don't say something specific, I'm just going to do a general reading. And with archetypes, they are different from the traditional tarot. So sometimes you can ask, how's things going to go for my job? And it'll be actually more deeply personal. So things are on an archetypal level. So let's have a look. Okay. I'm going to share just a few questions. One ex-boy dumped me at New Year's. Now he's still living. Okay, so Jay, though I'm just gonna, there's too many questions for me to answer in 3 cards. So I'm actually just going to ask what's the most important archetypes that you need to hear. And we'll go from there. There's the full moon at the moment. So It's actually going to be tomorrow, I believe. But I've been having a few people telling me that they've been tired and other people telling me they've been energized. How's everyone feeling? Okay. Dumped me, New Year's, but he's still my living carer, just not a boyfriend, and also had a brother, my front tooth. Okay, so Jay, you have a reading that's come through, and it's quite connected with creativity and wanting to connect more to your spiritual self. So to start off with, you have the sustainer. So this archetype actually talks about, we can get really annoyed with the everyday things, cooking, cleaning, getting changed, all the boring stuff that we tend to hate. But what it's doing in this card is saying is like, you actually have a very creative and fertile time coming up where you can really decide what you're wanting to work on and what you're wanting to do. And because you have that one that's with it, you're going to have that connection. So whichever the creative idea, the actual sustainer, so the cooking, the cleaning, and everything, that's going to ground you through a really creative time. But see how you've got your pearl of wisdom in the middle, and then you've got all these rings of creative ideas. You can actually get overwhelmed with like 1,000 different ideas at once, or not knowing what decision to make and not knowing what to do. Do I pursue this? Do I do that? Do I get a new carer? Do I start a new, whatever happens? So you can get really overwhelmed. And this card asks you to really, you've got that grounded card, stay really grounded, but just to pick one thing to focus on at a time so you don't get deeply, overwhelmed in life. Because when this card comes through, it can be really intense because you're just like, I actually don't know which decision to take. And the best thing is to actually just make one decision at a time so that you don't overwhelm your system. You have the one as your final card, which is that craving to be more in line with spirit and also your intuition and yourself, and to just have that peace. So whichever decision that you work upon, make it so that it's important for your own peace of mind, your own connection to your intuition, and for the highest good, the higher vibrational options, because that's also going to guide you as you're deciding. Because the energy of that seed card in the middle is like, woo, 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 like there's just so many different ideas. No, I'm lost, scared to be single. You're going to have to follow your intuition no matter how scared you are. That's the energy of this card. So if your intuition is telling you to either find a different carer and not be in a relationship with them, or whatever your intuition is saying, you're going to have to follow that and be really, really brave. So if what's working for you now is toxic, then you need to really ask yourself, am I willing to stay in this just because I'm afraid of being alone when there might be other options out there? So you're going to have to really trust your intuition, because when that seed card comes up, there's literally lots and lots of opportunities waiting for you. You're just going to have to make decisions based really on your gut instinct and your intuition for your highest good. Because remember, that card there is your wanting to desire to be connected to your intuition and your higher self. So you must make decisions which are for your highest good and the higher vibration options, because that seed card is like, there's just lots of opportunities So don't get bogged down thinking this is the end of this and this is how it has to be. That card's literally saying, if you want to, there is more opportunities. You're just going to have to go into a grounded place of trust and work one option at a time. So I hope that helped, gorgeous, and good luck to you. Now, let's see who else we have got. We've got the beautiful Casey. Now, let me just smudge these cards some more. Jay, that sustainer, when you start to feel a little bit overwhelmed as well, don't forget that the everyday practical things, you know, having a nice meal, reading a good book, the things that are homely and comfortable, it's actually what's going to ground you when you're highly emotional. So it's one of my favorite cards, even though it's, you know, a boring topic at times. Okay, Casey, let's see what we've got for you, my love. Just going to take a little sip. Hang on a second. I've made a cup of tea in my owl mug. Oh, it's a good cup of tea. I can always make a good cup of teas or bad cup of teas. I have no middle ground. Okay, Casey. Yours is quite a beautiful reading, but it comes with a little bit of a warning at the same time. So the first card is that same one where you're wanting to connect with spirit, you're wanting to connect with your higher self, have like a really intimate relationship with the divine and that trust. Like if I pray, my prayers will be answered. You know, see, touch, smell the divine. You know, and it's a deeply spiritual card. You have the mask, which has come up second. Now, this tells me, and this is a slight warning, as you're in the pursuit of wanting to be connected more spiritually and just to trust your intuition and be more connected, because remember, the one is also about connection. You have to be really careful not to get yourself someone who's a guru or somebody who puts themselves up on a pedestal. All the greatest teachers got down on the ground and was amongst the people. If you have somebody that just sits there and teaches and they end up being in their ego and the different things, like if they feel, if at any time you feel like they are better than you, then they are wearing their own masks and they're in that guru energy, and just be really wary of them. And I just keep getting this as an actual warning. Just be wary of people wearing masks. So it's fake people, people who, like, you know, they seem really genuine, but your instincts is going, something's not right about this person. Well, Casey, you're going to have to deeply honor that intuition, because the person might seem absolutely perfect and everyone else around that you loves them, but they're dinging your intuition. There's a little part at the back of your mind that's going, something's wrong. And you need to really honor that and just back away. You have the beautiful Mother card, which is the divine feminine. If you have any females that could be wearing that mask, be wary of them. But I just feel like it's masks in general. And I think that Mother card is really asking you to connect with your divine feminine. And if you have any mother issues, whether or not you had a good mother or a bad mother, or you think you're a good mother or a bad mother, then that needs to also come up and be healed. Because I feel like the mask and the mother in your reading are actually going, these things need to be looked at and addressed before you get that connection that you're craving with the one. I think that Mother card's twofold. So you've got a very interesting reading. It's like 50-50, which happens sometimes. So I do feel like there's something with the female line, something with the female relatives that needs healing, or within yourself. And then there's also that divine feminine. So it's twofold. And be very careful of anyone that presents themselves as a guru. You know, you get what you're given with me. I don't try and pretend to be anything else. When people take coaching packages with me, you know, I can help them a lot, but I don't get there and pretend to be something else. I've got a quirky sense of humor. I like to have fun, but I know that I can help people. So I don't try and be anything other than myself, and the people recognize that. So I really want you to be careful of people who just seem too good to be true, or they're just dinging your guru factor, or there's something's wrong because they're wearing a mask and you know it. So trust that. And I think it's almost like you're going to doubt yourself because no one else can see it. Yes. So spot on. I have been working on my connection with true self, and I don't get on with my mum, haven't for years. Perfect. I would actually look into Casey, because that mother card was twofold. Maybe some women's circles or a meditation group or something where you can be around other women, a goddess group, some kind of pagan group that, you know, where you get to be in the presence of a lot of other females. But just be careful, you don't want any gurus. You want people who are really genuine. Yes, I've been feeling the people with masks, yes. And it's quite strong with your reading. And it's really, you know, I had to just be quite blunt with this particular archetype with you. So I don't know whether or not they're still surrounding you, or you're about to come into contact over the next week or two with a doozy, because that can sometimes happen as well. But don't get complacent, because the archetypes can actually be in your fields for months or years. I don't feel years, but it could be relevant for months. So I would still seek out the divine feminine connection. And the gecko has spoken. And seek out other women connections. I think that's going to help you connect with yourself and spirit more. Just be really aware of people wearing masks. Okay. Now, let's grab my piece of sage back. Now, thank you. I lost one of my front teeth because of him, so having posting it. Jay, I think that you need to really look into other avenues so that you don't have to put up with that kind of behavior. And remember, you've got that seed card, that seed energy. So you're going to have countless opportunities coming towards you, but you have to make that decision that you might think, oh, it's easier to have him here than try and find another carer. But no, the opportunities are there for you to make the decision. So don't get stuck into anything where you're going to, you know, lose your teeth over. You know, honey, you can do this. Okay. Perfect, Casey. All right, Julia, you're not the late one, I am. I'm a whole hour late. So, you know, we can be late together. What have we got for you? Oh, you have the Mystic. The Mystic is an intense card. It's a card of compulsion. So it's when we're going to be learning something. Sometimes it can just be a full-on, I must learn meditation, I must learn acupuncture, I must learn how to be a Buddhist monk, I must learn how to do crystal gridding. Like, it's like one thing after another. I had the Mystic in my field for about 3 to 4 years, and I sucked up spiritual knowledge like a sponge. It was quite intense. So you have that beautiful Mystic, which is that intense calling in of spiritual knowledge and that pursuit of higher aspects, esoterical knowledge. So if something's going wrong in your life, you're not just like, oh, I've got bad luck. You start to look at the higher aspects, because you've got that Mystic in your field and you know that there's more to life than just bumbling along it. We all have, we all co-create in our reality, whether we like to or not. And the more spiritual knowledge we have, the more responsibility we have, and the more we realize when we're making bad decisions. You have that Shadow card right beside your Lover card. So I feel like you're going to be on a journey of deep spiritual love and nurturing and understanding who you are, your own spiritual gifts and abilities, your own spiritual talents. And it's going to be very much based upon that journey of empowerment. If you're drawn to archetypes, that's pretty much what archetypes are. They're all about empowerment. When you get triggered, you observe what you're doing, and then you make a decision, I'm not going to activate that archetype, I'm going to do this. And you become like a puzzle master. And you don't give your power away in the moment. But archetypes are just one aspect. I did a video yesterday, Julia, on my Facebook page, of which I did not put in the description. Let me see if it'll come up if I do it here. I don't know if that worked. No, it didn't. Because I'm on StreamYard, I don't think it's going across. So if you, it's Jess Beard in Alchemist, and the video yesterday I talked about, it's quite funny, it's choice babies. So when we make a choice, that choice has babies. And this lady said this to me last week, and I said, so realistically, in the moment, we have to decide, are we going to make healthy choice babies, or are we going to have children of the corn? And now when I'm in that moment, I'm like, oh, I don't want children of the corn. You know, so it's actually a really graphic, funny way of, in that moment, choosing. And so it's quite potent. You've been giving your power away too often, and you need to turn within. Yes. So that Shadow card is all about that. There's an archetype called the Prostitute archetype, and we all have the Prostitute archetype. And it's where we give our power away to other people, and it's also where we don't think we're worthy. So we allow ourselves, we martyr ourselves, we shape shift into adaptable, into everything else. We give to other people, and then we don't receive. So the empath, a lot of people can think that they're empathetic, which they are. A true empath should be able to hold enough energy that they can go and help 100 people at once. An empath in shadow who's not looking after her own energy and doesn't know her own power gets drained after helping 1 or 2 people. So they're thinking, oh, I'm an empath, I'm so tired, but they're just not owning their own bullshit. Harsh words, but it's the truth. An empath can be incredibly powerful to multiple people if they take responsibility for their own energy. So that all ties into that prostitute archetype as well. So you know, it's quite powerful. I've just gone off on a tangent, sorry guys. So if you want to know anything more about those archetypes, you can join my group, Gorgeous, because I do archetypal training, and I think they'll just really suit you. So I do live trainings in there and a healing each Monday, so all kinds of stuff. So have fun in the pursuit of the mystic. Watch out for your shadow and learn to love yourself, because do you know what the lover is? The lover is the higher aspect of the prostitute. So you love yourself enough to stop giving away your energy and your power to other people. So perfect. Okay, now the beautiful Pauline. Yeah, I think it'll suit you, Julie. With the mystic in your field, the mystic is always drawn to multiple streams of information. And I just feel like the archetypes will suit you because they're logical but very deep, and you feel them in your blood and your bones. How are you doing, Pauline? Okay, I'm having a lot of spiritual readings for people this wonderful night. So Pauline, you have an initiation card of Gnosis. So this is a spiritual activation and initiation into your innermost knowing and spiritual truths. So it's a time when you start to deeply connect with trusting your intuition. You might have gifts and abilities that get upgraded or new ones come on board. It's a time when you pay deeper attention to your dreams, to lucid dreams, look for synchronicities, look for messages, and start to believe in the magic of life. There's a beautiful quote that I've got. It says, people always want miracles, but they don't believe in magic. So this card is a deep initiation into your own spiritual connection and your innermost truths, which goes perfect with card number 2, which is the gem. Now, this is literally facets of yourself coming forth. So hang on, I just got to take a sip. Still a really good cup of tea. So it's either brand new abilities and talents coming through, or old talents that you've been ignoring or squishing for a while are started to get buffed up, shined up, and brought to the light, just like you would polish any gem. So it's really exciting and perfect to go with that Gnosis card. Your third card is the Mentor. So this is either you're stepping up into a mentor-teacher role as a healer or as a teacher, as a coach like myself, or there's going to be a mentor that comes into your life that you deeply resonate with, and they teach you to have that connection and to trust your innermost knowing, and some more spiritual truths and intuition comes through. Maybe a mentor that's going to help you unlock those facets. Does that make sense, Blossom? So very clear reading, very positive reading, and a really strong energy of like, it's time to do this, Pauline, come on. So really lovely. So the beautiful Hannah. Does anyone have any full moon plans for tomorrow? Do you have any intentions? So on Sunday, I'm part of a workshop. It's only $49. It's an online workshop. It goes for 3 hours. You get a bonus 3-hour workshop, which was done a few weeks ago. So you get 6 hours for $49. So it'll be on Sunday. If you can't attend, it's recorded and you can keep it forever. So I forgot to put the details in the description as well. I'll have to update that. So actually, if you join my group, anyone's interested in that, if you join my group, the details are in there. Super excited about it because it's all about alchemy. The first segment is done with Ursula, and she is an embodiment teacher. So she has yoga practices and this Kali Ma technique with the Kali Ma Sword of Truth. And that's like when you're releasing what you want to let go of. Then Nicole's going to be talking about really practical tips to guide you to sticking to your decision. If you're wanting to let go of an old pattern, you make that declaration, then you support yourself. And then I actually finish it up with ceremony and ritual and the alchemist archetype, how it all ties together and how to actually create alchemy in your life, how to create ceremonies. I'm so glad that that made sense and resonated for you, Pauline. It was a really lovely reading. Initiation times are never easy, Pauline. That particular initiation is a little bit more lighter than some of the others, but it's still initiation. So there might be times when you're a bit emotional or overwhelmed, and it's just part of the process. So, Hannah, are you still with me, beautiful Hannah? Oh, you're still with us, Jay. That's beautiful. Archetypes can be very relevant for everybody. I have multiple people who connect with me and say, you know, I could actually understand each of those cards and how they're, you know, they've been relevant for me either in the past or actually relevant now, because archetypes are a language. Okay, so you have an interesting reading, Hannah. You have chaos coming in. Chaos of the storm in a teacup. So it can be an epiphany, a sudden insight, followed by profound change because you've had that insight and now you've got to change. It can also be a time of, you know, something happens unexpectedly and you're going to have to deal with it. You're like, oh, out of the blue. The other two cards, oh, Pauline, wow. That's going to be relearning a whole new way of being. And why having to grieve for the old you then have to also embrace the new you. Embrace all the other different senses as well. That's going to be a huge, profound transition, Blossom. And support yourself with people around you who are going to hold space and not go into the victim of it, go into the warrior. go into like, oh wow, this or this, and will be supportive and not crumble. And it still feels, actually, it doesn't feel particularly heavy, or I don't sense a deep amount of grief. So I think you're going to be incredibly adaptable and own your superpowers for being incredibly adaptable. Own your power. So Hannah, you've got that chaotic energy of the storm, but you have the animal. So when this comes through, I actually feel like this is for your love life. When this comes through, you must love every part of yourself before you attract to you, you know, the ideal partner. And if you're even in a partnership, things can actually get a lot better when you shift within. So the animal is for us to get really comfortable in our skin. This is who I am. This is my personality traits. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to change who I am if it's, you know, if you're prostituting yourself. Stop giving. You know, it's that deep journey of absolute self-love, so that you're comfortable in your skin and you know who you are and you love yourself for who you are. And when you're aligned in that frequency, that is when you start to attract a relationship that is more whole and more about partnership. A lot of people who go through toxic relationships and toxic patterns, it's because they're not happy or know who they are, and they don't know what's going on, and they've got either a blueprint set up from a parent, they've got some kind of self-esteem issue, they've got some kind of trauma, something or other's happened to them. So what they do is they attract partners to them, so they have to learn about boundaries, they have to learn to assert themselves, they have to learn to go, I am not dealing with your bullshit anymore, I'm going to step up and stand up. And that's when they start to grow into their skin. They go, this is who I am, you can all F off. It's a potent archetypal card where you start to accept yourself and love yourself. I highly recommend you do this without calling in those toxic partners, without calling in the narcissist, without calling in the gaslighters. You actually get so comfortable in your skin, and then you attract a partner at the frequency of wholeness instead of in your patternings, in your blueprints, in your wounds. As awful as all these relationships are, when I talk to people who have had the most horrific lives and a lot of trauma, they all inevitably tell me what it's taught them. So this is a card where it's going, I need to be really comfortable with who I am. You go, I just had an epiphany yesterday on how I'm able to believe that someone can really love me. Perfect. You have the mother archetype. This is the divine feminine and the mother. So for it to come up beside the skin card, I would be looking at your blueprint that your mother has set. Does your mother, was she a smotherer? Was she loving? Was she toxic? Was she caring? Was she abandoning? Was she abusive? Was she in a series of bad relationships? Was she a series of relationships where she gave her power away? You know, sometimes it's generational. They always just conform to what the male wanted. And unfortunately, we have to undo the blueprints that are set up, but that's part of being an adult. Do you know the archetype of the adult, when you actually step into adulthood on an archetypal level, is when you realize that your mum and dad are just human. They can make mistakes. They've got their faults. They've got their own blueprints. And, you know, you always pray that doesn't happen too early, because then that creates wounds of itself. Why do we always blame our mothers? It depends upon whether or not the mother is in light or shadow, Wendy. So the mother archetype at its core is loving, nurturing. They care for you. They want what's best for you. They show you what consequences are, and they get you to adulthood so that you're a really good adult. When they're in shadow, the mother can be a smotherer. So she takes that step too far and she doesn't allow her children to go into being adults. She wants to keep them into the nest because she lives through her children. She's in shadow. She can also be not in those nurturing archetypes, and she could actually go into abandonment. She can take her frustrations out from her blueprints of what happened to her and how she was raised, and she just brings it out on the child. Now, what happens and what creates the wound is, on a fundamental level, we know that that's not how your mother is supposed to act. You can have a tiny little child who's like 4, and he just looks at his mum, or she looks at his mum and goes, this isn't right. There's something wrong here. And I'm different from all the other kids, and my relationship's different. You know, I have an incredible mum. I could even say one of the world's best. I think we all say that. But that's what can happen when you set up that blueprint. And it happens with the father as well. If the father is in shadow, you can go into an adulthood and you seek and play out the lessons that were set up as a blueprint as a child. It's quite fascinating. So, Hannah, with that mother, I would be looking at your relationships with your mother. If you are a mother yourself, look at how you're parenting. And it also is the divine feminine in this card deck. So if you've got that skin card beside you, so you can actually address, like, are you happy as a female? Do you feel a strong connection to the divine feminine? That's the thing. I've had some drifting with my mother now. I've just had to avoid her for now to protect my own energy. I've been dealing with family chaos now as we live on one roof, but now I see them differently and apart from me, as I don't really follow them. It's hard because they don't understand me. I feel different now. Hannah, that's really a very common story. You're not alone in that. And it's actually really important and really, really beautiful that you don't going into blame. It's just more of a form of detachment. And I went through that for a few years until I kind of grew into who I was. Funnily enough, with that skin card, I accepted who I was on a spiritual level. And I am very, very, very different from my whole family. My family are farmers, and they're hard workers. And here I am doing card readings and spiritual coaching with the archetypes. Well, there's business there as well, but archetypes are still in the spiritual realm. So it's really confronting, Hannah, and it's just step by step, layer by layer, as you grow into it. And I think that you'll find, as long as you maintain your relationship with your mum, and you don't go into the blame. You remain, you understand, like, her on an intrinsic level. You'll probably find that you'll continue to drift apart a little bit, but then you'll come back when you're more comfortable in your skin, and you'll have a stronger relationship because you own your own power, if that makes sense. Now, Pauline's just said, your blindness is going slowly, but I have family, friends around me. I'm loved, and yes, I'll be very safe. Thank you. Listening to you now, I have change issues. I'm going through lots of anxiety. This past month, on an astrological level, has been so intense for people, Pauline. We have been really let going of really old stuff. So not only do you have a very physical representation of change within your own body, you also have all the stuff that's going on for astrological and for everyone else. So just be really gentle, accept the anxiety as, like, don't go into blame and all those things for yourself. Just accept it for what it is, and try and be as positive, and find things that soothe you and comfort you. Use that alchemist that I was talking about to try and shift yourself out of it if you can. Wendy, it's not about blame. I don't blame my mother, but I understand her archetypes. If you understand the archetypes, you can understand the blueprints. And if you have those blueprints within yourself, you can then shift them. We are a recipe of all the things that we've seen and done, and the things that are around us. Our identity is made up from our parents, our teachers, our religions, if we still have them, the books we read, the television we watch, the internet we have, where we interact online, and the friendships, conversations we have. And we take all of this and we meld it into who we are. So when I'm talking about looking at the mother archetype, I'm not saying blame the mother, I'm saying understand. And if you have a mother or a father archetype that is actually in shadow, and that's what it is, you don't go, oh, mum and dad, you ruined my life. You go, I understand what you're doing, I understand the patterns, and I'm not going to repeat it. And if you don't understand the blueprints, not only of your parents, but all the people that are around you as you're forming your own personality, then if you have negative habits, patternings, quite often they are from other people and other situations and things that happened to you in your formative years. And it's only with understanding them that you look at them, assess them, and can alchemize your way out of them. So I'm sorry if I came across that you blame them, because that's not the intention. It's understanding. Because knowledge is the key to freedom. It's the key to stepping into your sovereign and making empowered decisions in the moment, that I am not going to repeat these patterns. If I have an incredible internal self-critic, if I have a martyr, if I'm giving away my power by getting really offended, if my victim is out of control, then nobody else can fix it but you. No one else is going to be our heroes. No one else is going to come in on a white steed and save us. The only thing that we can do is go, well, I'm sick of repeating the same pattern over and over, and I'm going to do something about it. And that's when you start asking for the knowledge, and you start asking for, to start assessing things. It's really powerful. Hannah's got, I'm aware that we have our own trauma to resolve it. My own is different from theirs. What I can control is mine. If they can't do it, then there's no point giving them my energy. Perfect. One of the most bitter lessons I ever had to learn, Hannah, was that you can't heal somebody who doesn't want to be healed. I love to try and help people, but if they don't want to help themselves, then you can talk to your blue in the face, and they can even come to you and ask for help, but they're not ready, or they don't actually want to help themselves. It's all talk. It's almost like a form of energy vampirism at times with some of the people. So continue on your beautiful journey, and you might cycle back and have that really beautiful connection. But that animal card is asking you to journey in and be really comfortable within your own skin. Know who you are. Know your own power. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What are your personalities? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your triggers? You look at the whole lot. It's a really potent and really beautiful card. And it can be full on, but that's where really true empowerment, comes in, when you start journeying into knowing yourself deeply. Jay, I'm usually on a Friday at 7:30 Queensland and 8:30 New South Wales. And I stuffed up my time zones in spectacular fashion, so I'm actually on later than I normally would be. So let's pop in another reading. So Wendy, did that make sense when I'm talking about not blaming? It's more, just understanding and discerning the patterns so that we can then take control of our own patterns. Okay, beautiful, Marsha. Okay. I think that's gorgeous, Hannah. I really liked your reading, and it feels really strong about that next journey that you're going to be on. So I'm really excited for you, and you can join my group. The link is in the description. It's Courageous Sovereign Women, and it's very much the intention of the group is for people who are really working on themselves, trying to change their patterns. If they have fears and doubts, working upon them, just really courageously step into their sovereign selves. So I feel like with that animal card, you'll be doing a little bit of that. So if you need support, they're a really lovely bunch of women. I'm really lucky to have such a gorgeous group. Okay. You've been healing some deep childhood emotional trauma in the past few weeks. Oh, darling, I've had some very interesting conversations. I'm not surprised. February's been fascinating on the transformational level. The flame. What else have we got for you, Blossom? Ooh, we got the storm too. Got chaotic change. And surrender. Well, Marsha, I think you're going to have a little bit more healing that's going to bubble up and come forth. So it's a little bit of the energy is like a little bit all over the way. So I do think it's going to be a little bit chaotic. Pauline, I'll come back and I'll send you the link. It is in the description above. I'm not sure what it looks like on Facebook. The writing should be above it. So, but if you can't find it, I'll come back into the comments and I'll reply. So you'll get a notification. All right, Marsha, you have the flame, which is an incredibly potent time of creation coming through. But when you were talking about, let me just click on that one there so I can read it as up there, like those deep childhood traumas, the flame can come through to kind of help burn things away without to let go of things. So it's highly creative, but it's also transformational. It's fire. So you can actually use the flame to help you to heal through this. I would be doing a lot of journaling. If you're wanting to release traumas and write it all out and then burn it in ceremony, that's actually one of the techniques I'll be talking about in the workshop I'm doing on Sunday. So fire is incredibly potent for release as well. So really work with the flame and let it come through and burn away the things that you don't need anymore. Now, you have that storm energy as well, storm in a teen cup. So it's a little bit of I get like a sense of like lots of things have just been going on, like almost a bit scattered. And the storm can be that sudden epiphany, like a lightning bolt out of nowhere. And you're like, wow, that's what I've been doing. So it can be a real deep epiphany. And it can also be chaos around you. Something or other might happen and you're just like, this is out of nowhere. What the F is going on? So I feel like that's going to be in your field not too much longer, but it's kind of merged with the releasing of stuff that's letting go. So perfect. I changed the name of my group from Sovereign Circle with Jess Beard Sue, and I called it Courageous Sovereign Women. So I must have an old link up there, do I? Sovereigns, there, I do. It's my thing there. It's an old banner. Do I have the new one? No. I'll change it to that one because then I won't be having the wrong information going across. Thank you, Sue, for pointing that out. I clicked on the wrong banner. So, yes, lots of healing, journaling, releasing. Consciously use fire, Marsha. Light candles and speak your intention in, and then write down stuff and burn them. It's incredibly transformative. You have the river, which is surrender to the process, to deep release, trusting the process. We can think that we can try and control our way out of any situation, but we really can't. We can focus. We can, do this. We can work at it. But if it's not meant to be, no matter how hard we try, it's just not going to happen because that's not what our higher selves want. So in this particular reading, it's just asking for a deep surrendering. So keep doing exactly what you're doing and ask that fire to support you. But I really feel like you're going to be going through a release for a couple more weeks. And to be aware if you have family members or friends who start acting like chaotic around you, it's just that storm energy, and try and detach from it and just go, okay, so this is what that lady was saying on Friday. These are all gone cray cray, and just step out of it so you don't have to be involved in their stuff. And that flame card, remember, do work with it. Intentions, magic, burn away the dross. Really, really, really potent. So yes, sorry guys, I had that wrong name. It's the perfect time for that, Marsha. I've had some older stuff from when I was really young. It wasn't sexual based, but it was where people had said things to me which I perceived as an attack. So I actually put a block upon my own energy and my own words and my own different stuff based on some just small arguments. So some really potent stuff has come up through the month. It's been quite hectic. Okay, Lisa, let's have a look at you. Let's see what we've got. Whew, Lisa, you have an initiation card. You are on the right path, Marsha, but I also feel that it's just going to continue for a little bit longer, and just embrace it and surrender to the process. I find a lot of people who fight with death and rebirth actually end up going through it longer and having a much darker time. Can even ricochet into a dark night of the soul. Allow yourself to release. Do rituals about release. You know, our workshop that's on Sunday is Release, Revive, Rebirth. Have a read up on it. And if it resonates, I think that could even be really more appropriate. But I'm not here to kind of sell. I like just doing the readings for the reading. So trust your intuition and have a read about it and see what you think. In particular with what's going on, I think it could be incredibly powerful for you. So the beautiful Lisa, what else have we got for you? We've got initiation card and you've got the heart. Beautiful. So Lisa, you have Kairos, which is the initiation of time, divine timing, trusting in time. It's where we literally lose time and we think, oh, wait, what day is it? And having to absolutely have faith in divine timing. If we've been calling in something, a new relationship, we've been working on manifesting something and we like to control it. If we launch a business, we like to go, oh, it's going to be this, I'm going to have this amount of money in the first month and da-da-da. And you control the situation so much that you don't allow yourself to receive. So this card is very much about, I get intuition, I take action. I trust my intuition, I trust divine timing, I trust what the universe tells me. And it's not easy at times because we live in, you know, oh, it's 9:30 or no, it's this such and such. So it can be really confronting. You have the heart. And I actually feel like you've done an incredible amount of work on self-love and really, really accepting yourself and loving yourself and wanting healthy relationships and what is the true, you know, a balanced divine feminine, a divine masculine. You have the medallion, which is something that you've been striving for. You're going to obtain it. You know, you're going to win that trophy that you've been after for a long time. So I don't know if you're wanting a new relationship, or I don't know if you are been on that journey of self-love and you like have this deep, absolute divine connection with self and you like, I've done it. This is who I am. I love myself. I know myself. This is this. This is who I am. And you can radiate love easier. So if you've, got a few people in your life that you kind of have held on to a bit of bitterness or you need to forgive them, It can be this sudden moment where you actually obtain forgiveness for somebody. And you're like, I've been trying to do this for 10 years. How can I suddenly forgive them? You know, Kairos is a fascinating, fascinating initiation card because it's in divine timing. It's just really, really beautiful. And the reading is gorgeous. The feeling behind it is yummy. And it's, you know, like I've been trying for this, this, and this, and I'm going to get it. You know, so all I can say is good things are coming. Powerful realizations are coming. Things that you've been working for are coming. And you know, trust in that divine intuition and your divine timing. If you get a thought to do something, take action, because you'll be in Kairos timing and your initiation will go faster. My greatest advice. I try and fight that card because I'm an Aries. so when it's in my field, I'm just like, I want it now. I want to do this, and it doesn't work. You got to do it in divine timing. So I'm really excited for you. That one is beautiful. And I better get myself off here. I've gone over time as usual. My spirituality has opened up so much in the last year, and I know I have who and what I am here for myself. That is really beautiful, Sue. That's what COVID did for me. I was forced to take a hobby and turn it into a business. Something that was purely word of mouth. I had to go for a crash course on how to, you know, be courageous enough to get on here and do card readings and launch the coaching and do the counseling. So last year was epic for myself, and I think that was the blessing of COVID. Is it's made us really look at ourselves deeply, and it's gave us the time. Oh, you're an Aries too, Lisa. Oh, I love being an Aries. We're just crazy. If there's a pool of water and there's the deep end with sharks, I'll go and climb into it, half drown myself. You know, throw myself in there, half drown myself, figure out what to do. Then I climb out of the pool and I'm like, guys, don't do this, this, and this. Do this. Go this way. I laugh at some of the things I do. I just, you know, don't think sometimes. Throw myself in the deep end and learn the real hard way. Yeah. Aries are hysterical. I get along with other Aries really well because we can be quite blunt, and I also think I'm pretty hard to offend because not only have I done all the work on archetypes, but I think Aries just can't be bothered holding a grudge. Not if they're a pure Aries. I don't even remember, and I don't lie because I can't remember my lies, because that's just something I'm not going to put any effort into. So it's easy to tell the truth than try and create some story, and then I've got to remember that story for the next decade. So you have trouble thinking before saying stuff. Yeah, I've had that too, and sometimes I'll ring someone up the next day and I'm like, I didn't mean to offend or anything. And she goes, no, you weren't offensive. But I play back what I've said, and I'm like, so I've done a lot of work. Sue, I have a Libra moon. I think it's the only thing that balances out my Aries, because it's a cardinal air and on the emotional side of things. So balance is really important to me emotionally. And yeah, Lisa, I get over stuff. You know, I go walk away, I go in my room and I'll read, and I come back out and I'm over it. And I find it a bit interesting sometimes when I look at other people and I'm just like, you know, I'm not even worried, you know. And so that's one of the Aries superpowers, I think. And but I laughingly call it my little Aries bulldozer. And I get in there, and if I make a decision to do something, I don't go over the hill. I don't go around the hill. I bulldoze through it until I get to the other side. And I always laugh and I say to my clients, because like I help people, with a lot of I say courage activator. And I think that's that Aries in part of me, which really helps people, if they have afraid of getting on camera, afraid of what content to write. And I lovingly say, I'll get in my Aries bulldozer and we'll just push through this. And it's quite hysterical. You've got the Libra Sun, Gabrielle. Balance. I've got a lot of respect for the Libra sign, and a lot of them are very, very good talkers, and articulate, gifted the gab. Actually, maybe that because I have the Libra moon, maybe that's why I usually when I get in and I do my live training in my group and things like that, I'll speak well. So maybe it's my Libra moon. Haven't really thought about it before. I've got a Sag rising, but I don't. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on their rising signs, and in all honesty, I need to understand it a little bit more. And it just went 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. So Aries moon and a Leo ascendant. Oh, that's a lot of fire, Gabrielle. I have a ridiculous amount of planets in fire signs. Oh, you've got a Sag rising as well. We probably would get along like a house on fire, Lisa, because I find people with similar archetypes to myself, I just get them, and I just completely understand them. And I'm sure most people say, oh, I wouldn't want any other archetypes, but I just love being an Aries. I think it's fun as you get to be a little bit crazy and just go jump in the deep end and make all these mistakes and come out and go, well, guys, don't do this. Outer upsets, inner Libra, peace loving. Yes. And yes, Gabrielle, I find that if I get emotionally imbalanced from the outer, someone's done something, then I can really get knocked for a 6. Anyway, I better get off here because I'm now super, super late, and it's, what time is it? It's 10:43 for you down there. So I think, Lisa, nobody you just end up as an Aries. As I've got older, I just surround myself with people who understand Aries, and you know what, if anyone needs any help, they know to give me a call because the bulldozer can do it, so I think that then I surrounded myself with people who can respect the bulldozer. I don't know if it comes up. It's let me I'll go banner and I'll change it, enter a banner. So that's its name. I wanted it because of the frequency. You need the courage. If you're going to make change, you really need to be courageous if you're going to face your fears. Sovereign is the higher aspect of the child archetype. So it's not just being a queen and it's not doing such and such. The sovereign archetype is the archetype that gets activated to see what's going on. It's the sovereign that has that first moment of like, oh, I've actually got something wrong. There's a pattern going here that's destructive. So it's that sovereign that needs to be deeply acknowledged for it's the first card to see. and to ask questions. And then you can go through and you can bring in the alchemist and the warrior and the lover and all the other higher esteems, so that you can get yourself out of your triggers and out of your patterns. So that's why I went with the frequency of that. And I put woman because I only have 2 men in the entire group. I work with a couple of men, but it's more counseling based with the archetypes. It's not the coaching work, and it's not the readings or anything else like that. So I thought, you know what, I want women to feel really safe. So that was why I went with that name. Okay. So now when you get off this live, it'll take about 4 or 5 minutes or sometimes it's quick, say anywhere between 1 and 5 minutes to upload onto Spiritual Events Directory. And the link to my page, to the Courageous Sovereign Women, is in the description, but you must not be able to see it on the phone. Have the Innocent, the Sage, and the Magician. The Magician is also the Alchemist. It's just a different way of wording it. And the Sage is very similar to the Seer. So it's very cool that you know a little bit about it. With the Innocent, do you mean the innocent child, or do you mean the maiden? Anyway, that's now 1 hour and 16 minutes. I'm going to get in trouble, so I better go. Much love, and I hope to see you all in my group. Thank you.